Hi there. Let's talk about phone authentication using Kinde and Twilio as the service provider. Let's get started. So here I have my initial application. I'm going to be using the starter kit. Obviously, if you have the authentication already set up, any application would work. So this works on basically any level. But I'm going to be using the demo that I did for the sign-in custom application. Here in the sign-in custom application, if I click on sign in, I get back into my sign-in page, which is the classic Google SSO or just email verification kind of thing, or create my account. So what we want to do is add phone authentication, and it's extremely easy to do. So all I have to go to is go to settings. So your Kinde homepage, and then you click on settings. Inside settings, if you scroll down underneath the environment section, you can find the authentication button. Let's click on authentication. You see phone. Let's configure the phone module. So inside the phone module, what you're able to do is send 10 free messages per month for free just on us. If you want to use anything more than that, which is just basically essentially 10 sign-ins, you have to use Twilio as the service provider to actually send the messages themselves. So a few reasons why we did this. Complexity. Majority of the time that users would actually want to bring their own campaigns, their own phone numbers, because it's already branded, that kind of thing. And obviously we don't have to actually upcharge you. Think of this as bring your own key in terms of the API key for OpenAI, and you're talking with ChatGPT kind of style, where you are saving the cost of just actually being your own provider. So cool. At that out of the way, let's actually start utilizing this. So in the configure phone authentication screen, we can scroll down and just click on custom sign-in and press save. What this will do is actually enable the custom sign-in form for phone numbers. If I refresh the page, then I will now see a switch to phone number screen. So if I click on switch to phone number, I'll be able to log in using my phone number. But to implement Twilio specifically is what we are concerned about here. So on Twilio settings, what we will be getting them from their account is the account SID number, the auth token, and the message service ID, or from the phone number. You'll be most likely using the message service, but more on that later. So let's configure and go back to the Twilio homepage. So inside the Twilio homepage, you'll be with a trial account. Inside the trial account, you can essentially do any kind of the services that Twilio allows you to do so. So for messaging is a little bit more complex. Messaging relies on regulations, country to country specific, to be able to send messages to their phones. So different countries have different regulations. For example, Australia, as long as you own a local phone number and you provide your details that you actually do have a local address to Australia, you're able to send A2P or application to person messages to other Australian phone numbers, just like that. America, Canada, for example, do not allow this. So they have a strict ban on A2P that is unverified. So again, ATP, application to person, which means that anytime you use an API to send a message, that pretty much counts as a application to person message. Doesn't really matter the context, which is basically 99% of all SIP kind of messaging products and services. You will have to register. You can register for the 10DLC phone number, which 10DLC just means 10 digits long, since phone numbers in America are 10 digits long. Or you can register for a toll-free number, which you get higher limits, but it's a little bit more of a complicated process to be able to register. And that's to be able to send messages into the United States to have your users who are from the United States be able to be verified. Cool. So this brings us to why messaging services are the standard. So what a message service does is essentially you're able to pool all the phone numbers that you have into one big service. Inside the service, Twilio will be smart enough to assign the country codes and prepend them to the phone numbers that is being requested. So for example, if an Australian person is able to send in and ask you to log into their account, Twilio will see that number, give you the closest thing that it is to Australia from the phone numbers that you own, and use that number to send back the verified code. So it enhances deliverability. You're a happy customer. They're able to sign in. Everybody wins here. It's almost never the case that you should probably be using from number. You should probably always be using messaging services, but again, up to you, up to your use case. Maybe you're just testing it out. Cool. So let's get started. So I'm creating a message service. Inside the messaging service, I'll be calling it 2FA because we're sending essentially two-factor authorization codes through the phone authentication system. Here, I'm going to be verifying my users. So let's create this messaging service. Inside the messaging service, we have the sender pool. So the sender pool is, like I said, all the conglomerate numbers that we're adding. So let's add some numbers. I already have provisioned myself a toll-free number, which you can see it still requires verification to be able to actually send messages in the United States, but that's completely fine. We will select this number and add this phone number to that bucket of the messaging service. So we can go to step 3. Step 3 for integration. So inside the integration, now we can do some little bit programming things that we want. For example, one of the things that you could do is essentially give it a webhook URL. Inside this webhook URL, every single time a message gets flown off or gets sent or delivered to you, that webhook URL will be listening to all of those events, and you'll be able to see them in real time. A good way to test for this, for example, is to use a website called Hook That Site. As the name says, it provides you a webhook that is free to use. You'll be able to see the request in real time, or obviously you can just set up your own like little Node.js server to listen for events. So I'm just going to paste my callback URL here. So the callback URL will be the delivery statuses and statuses of my messages as they come through. So let's add the compliance info. I don't have the information on me, so we can skip this step for now. Here, we set up a new messaging service, allow you to test the message, see if it's working, see all the troubleshooting steps that Twilio sides is like being functional. We'll skip all that for now because we trust Twilio. So we go here to view my new messaging service. Inside this brand new created messaging service, we find our messaging service SID, which is what we need to integrate it back to Kind. So let's go back into Kind. Inside here in the settings, we have the messaging service SID option. Simply copy and paste your token there, and we should be good to go. So now we just need our account SID and our auth token. Those can be found upper in the top right section under accounts into API keys and tokens. So here's our account SID. Again, Control C, Control V. Let's go back and get the auth token itself. Yeah, I know, funny business. Probably deleting this account afterwards. So yeah, don't even try. Pasted this in here. Everything looks good. Again, most likely the case. Probably should be using messaging service, the SID. Make sure that your authentication programs clicked on. Everything looks good. We can press save. Perfect. And that's it. You should be good to go. So your application should be functional and ready. So if we simply just go back into our application here, it's actually just now we get back originally to the local host. Inside the local host, I'm pressing the sign in button. As you can see in the sign in button, I have the switch to phone number section now. If I press the switch to phone number, it goes me back to the number integration. So I'm going to input my phone number here. Inside my phone number, it should be able to send a code message that comes to me. Inside the code message, I'm getting a 2FA back. So let me just paste the code that I got. They just sent me the code again. I think I probably typed it. So let me control paste it again. Inside this verified number, our authentication has now been officially sorted. Quick and easy, super painless. Literally, Kind side is to activate one switch, and everything else is essentially regulations and managing the Twilio account of your choosing. We're planning to open this up to more service providers in the future. Let us know how Twilio goes. Open to any feedback. So what's really cool is that this is actually also supported through custom sign-in authentication. Custom sign-in authentication, you have your phone number input here, and all you have to do in your code is, instead of a normal login hint where you would just basically pass the entity of the email that we did before, if you ever saw the video beforehand, what we do is now we pass a phone number provider with your phone number and then the region. So the actual standard is the phone, international number, and the country code. So for example, for USA, it would be US, your number, and with the phone here as well. Super simple, super easy to set up. Hope you guys have lots of fun exploring, and let us know if you have any feedback. Always looking to integrate and to make your guys' lives easier. Have a great rest of your day. Cheers.